Hello, this is Frank DeFreitas, and we're here at the Center for Holographic Arts in Long Island City, better known as Queens. And I'm speaking with Sju-Min Lin. How are you?
Hi, good. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Okay. You've been involved with holography for how long?
Has been about 10 years.
10 years now. And what do you work in? Is most of the work that you do in reflection holography or white light transmission holography?
I do most of reflection hologram, but I kind of working on more in much larger scale by having a hologram into the installation. So, for example, one of my work, I installed the hologram on the floor, and that floor take about 1,000 square feet space. And
the entire holographic installation is that size?
That will be about like for that piece, that particular one, I have about 100 holograms mixed with the tiles, so the audience can be walk on the tiles and also the holograms to look at the hologram.
Yeah. Now, is this an exhibit that moves from place to place, part of your work, or is this an exhibit that's in a building that's there permanently?
This piece has been traveled to many different countries and currently showing in Finland. And most of the time was in the museum space and kind of keep traveling now. Yeah.
What's your background? Is your background more as an artist or in science and technology?
Fine arts, my background.
Fine arts. What drew you to holography? Were you involved with another medium first and sort of like changed over to holography, or was holography your first love?
Well, before as an artist, I kind of play with all different medium like a painting or sculpture, those things. But it's kind of, I always feel like a two-dimensional painting. They are too flat, 2D, and the sculpture to me is also kind of little too real. So until about 10 years ago, when I first time I saw hologram, I finally found these two elements, these two quality can be combining together. Yeah.
Do you have your own laboratory?
Yes, I do. I have my studio in Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and what do you have inside? What type of laser systems are you working with right now?
I have a helium neon laser and also a big table for that. The table weighs 2,000 pounds. Yeah. So, and also some other size facilities.
Do you know what the power of a laser is?
It's a 50 milliwatt.
50 milliwatt. Okay, 125 spectra.
Yeah, you know pretty well.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Okay. As an artist working in holography, do you find sometimes you become frustrated because there's only so much you can do with the technology?
I have to say, as a holographer, you always have to, there are so many things unknown and happen during the working, procedure, but frustration never really coming from the limitation, because I do feel maybe different than other holographer. I do feel there are still so many things you can do for this medium, and you apply to different ideas. There's so many things I haven't done yet, and if sometimes you get frustrated, maybe because every good work requires so many requirement like a stability or temperature, whatever, so many things. Sometimes you don't get a very good result, and you have to really searching to see what happened, and that kind of sometimes you have no way to find out, because there are not many people involved in this field, and the support maybe not enough. But other than that, I'm pretty happy.
What's your process of coming up with a holographic work? Do you sit down and think of a concept and perhaps maybe draw it out on paper first, or is there a process that you find yourself going into from start to finish with a piece?
Most of the pieces, they will be coming from all different directions, but yeah, I do have to make a whole proposal together, since my type of hologram, it require like a lot of multi-exposures. So sometimes I feel it's kind of like even like a film production. I have to have after the concept and after the idea starting to develop, I maybe even do a storyboard, or I even having actual people who are finally I'm going to be my hologram. I will take the photo first as my sketch,
There's so many holograms out there where it's just the hologram, and like you had mentioned earlier, you work with installations, and there are other elements that are involved with your holographic work as well. What are some of the things that you've combined with holography in your projects?
So far, the things I'm combining is all the different material objects, for example, I have other piece like a glass vase, or the other piece I'm mounting the hologram on the fish tank, and then I'm also will be working on more and more, combining with some other materials or some other art form together.
I've been involved with holography for many years as well, and I know that there's been comments out there saying that some people feel holography is a legitimate art form, other people do not, and I would think that after all these years that argument would have gone away, but it still seems to be fairly prevalent out there. How do you feel that this medium of holography could be looked upon as a legitimate art form? A lot of times when you go out to see a hologram, you'll see a hologram of something, of an object, and for most people, why not just sit the object there instead of making a hologram of it? What's different about the type of work that you do that gets away from that thing of just reproducing something that already exists?
Well, to look at that perspective, even painting kind of reproduce something.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Even the photography, they reproduce something. So I think the value is not how exactly these things reproduce the real object. It's how, and it's all according to what kind of meaning the artist put into that work. Otherwise, I guess every artwork reproduce something else. So I don't know why. I guess the hologram has a limitation is not a lot of people really know, and also not a lot of people are able to get into this medium. So this medium always kind of has been, and so far not that popular. So, people kind of looking at that in a very interesting way, because people keep thinking about the technical side rather than what the actual content those artists put into there. Because what grabbing you first is always, wow, that's so amazing. Why are you doing this? How this happening? So I guess that was something, how people feel that. But I guess if anyone who are seriously or some art critic or any audience or any if they get really more serious about work, then they will get in there and then see what's a real expression the artist try to put in there. It's like every other medium, even oil painting in one time was a new medium too,
and high tech at one time.
Yeah. So
like a pencil was high tech at one time.
Yeah. So this is just we are kind of maybe in the time frame we are a little earlier. So we have to be able to answer most of those questions about technical side.
What are the biggest barriers to having people get involved with holography? What could we change about holography that would allow more people the opportunity to get involved with it, do you feel?
Well, first of all, it's about this requires so many equipments. They make it very different than other art medium, and those equipments, is making a normal art student they couldn't really reach and touch, or to get in there and then to spend enough time. It's also even computer at the beginning. You see all the students squeeze into one room and they all study from one big screen, and now everyone got one at school and one at home. So it's about I guess you have to make the equipment more available for people, and then that really depends on what if there's any a major company, they will be willing to putting more effort into this to make this more popular.
Do you think some of the companies that are dealing with these technologies, such as the laser manufacturers, your optical manufacturers, and the people who manufacture the mounts, do you think that they should be putting more money back into the field to help people get involved with it? It doesn't seem as if these companies contribute anything back into the field.
Yeah, it doesn't seem they're doing that, but I would like to see that, because if one day these things become more available for people, then back to just now we were talking about, people keep thinking about this technology things. It's like nobody will asking anyone how the photo develop. Even nobody knows. And how those CD, like a music CD compact disc, how that works. And nobody knows, but because it's so popular, so nobody asks.
Interesting, yeah. Where do you see holography going in the future as far as maybe 10 or 20 years down the road? First, I'd like to find out what some of your visions are on that, and then I'll get back to you, maybe asking you what do you think needs to take place in order for us to get there. But where would you like to see holography in 10 years? What do you think we're going to be seeing with it?
You know, since this medium is so attractive, you know, by how many times when I had a show and how you're seeing how people, the audience responds to the work, you know, people like this. And so it's like feel like a very, interesting, like it doesn't really go that far, so far. But if the things are very attractive to people and, there's no reason it doesn't get big. So I would see, like, it's supposed to be in the future, maybe those things can instead of, the closest one would be photography, the photo ID, whatever. I guess ID will be the most closest one, like that can be really seeing three-dimensional, people on the photo, or ID, yeah.
And in order to get there, what do you think we need to overcome? What are some of the barriers that you see to getting there?
Again, still back to the equipment's not that available, and you need to have a kind of more. And I guess individually, those holographers, if they don't have enough funding, then you cannot really push that far. So again, they still have, we have to see if there's any bigger manufacturing company they related to this, and they'll be willing to put more energy on this side.
That's an issue that I hear a lot about, as far as an artist will say that they don't have any funding so that they can't do any work.
I try to, I still try to, using hologram to make a bigger hologram. Mm-hmm. So somehow, if someone purchases a hologram, I put that money back to produce a bigger work. And sometimes I have some commission work, and I use that part of money to do, to kind of going back for the next project. That's the way, kind of self-sufficient in that way.
How can someone find out more about your work?
Okay,
you have a website?
No, I'm going to have, but not yet. And because I kind of show very frequently. I almost have usually about 10 exhibitions in 1 year, and I should have my website. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, and we will include information. I see you have your card here, so would it be all right for us to put your telephone number in case and your email address as well?
Of course, yeah. And if anyone heard this from the news, and if you have any question, please welcome to call me, or you can email to me. Should I just my phone number, same as my fax number, is area code 212-662-5966. And my email address is lin at sprintmail.com. lin at sprintmail.com. And my name is Sju-Min Lin. It's spelled SHU-MIN. Sju-Min Lin, Lin.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. It was very nice meeting you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Take care.